You can kick rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk.
And we are back with another episode of Shift Happens. And today we are joined by a good friend, colleague, Preston, and I, obviously working on some stuff with this individual as well to get our confession booth going for contact center agents. This individual, you may know him as the host of CX Without the BS and also channel manager at Level 365, Brian Nichols. Brian?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing well, man. Look at the tables have turned. Like, actually, you got me kind of in Preston and I. We did your podcast, guess maybe 5 months ago.
Yeah.
And then decided to launch our own. So credit where credit is due. And I think obviously outside of that, maybe just for anybody that's not aware of you, do you just want to give a quick little rundown about yourself?
Sure. So you hit on the highlights, right? So I'm Brian Nichols. I'm the host of CX Without the BS, where we talk all things customer experience and all the nonsense that we see in the customer experience space. Especially a lot of the BS on the marketing slide decks. A lot of it's AI related, especially in 2026. But I'm also, as you mentioned, the channel manager over at Level 365. We are a rock solid business voice UCaaS vendor that people actually like to work with. So having some fun, causing some mayhem in the UCaaS channel right now, disrupting some of the existing status quo vendors. So it's been a lot of fun. But other than that, I'm a dad. I am an unfortunate Cowboys fan. And otherwise, I'm an open book. So wherever you want to start, man.
Well, let's start there for a second.
Oh, no.
Terrible year for the Cowboys, and what a weird Super Bowl this is going to be.
Yeah.
Right? Super weird. But
yeah, bad year for the Cowboys for sure, though. Like, our defense, I think, was top 5 worst of all time.
Yeah, I feel like every year is like sets us up for hope, and then failure.
You're a Cowboys fan too, Preston?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, look right over his head, man.
So you'll appreciate this. I have a buddy here in town. His dad was a Cowboys fan, and he was cleaning out his attic. And he's like, "You're a Cowboys fan, right?" My buddy's a Chiefs fan. And he found these 25-year commemorative medallion Dallas Cowboys coins. He gave me 2 of them, dude. And it's like these little booklets. You open
That's
it
awesome.
up. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So yeah, no, it's been fun being a Cowboys fan for the past 30 years.
You take those to every game you go to, see if you can get it signed. That'd be pretty badass.
It would actually be a really cool thing. Gets players from like the 1985 team. Anyways, yeah, fun Cowboys. It's been an experience.
Yeah, well, what a Super Bowl this will be. I mean, you have the podcast voice, man. Even introduction, he's like, "Well, dive right in." Tell us a little bit about what you guys talk about. Let's I guess go a little bit deeper. What's one of your most unique podcast experiences on CX Without the BS?
Yeah, so on CX Without the BS, one of the more unique ones was probably a couple years ago. My old co-host Tom and I, we were doing the show together, and we had a guy on the show, and we're talking about like what are some of the biggest things that are like BS in the industry. That was the big question we always would ask at the end of every episode is like, what are you seeing as the biggest piece of BS in the industry? And the guy, like he was promoting this big AI push for, the channel, and he literally just called out like all the AI nonsense. And it was just interesting because like a lot of the vendors that he was obviously referencing were vendors that were under their portfolio. And I'll remain agnostic in terms of the TSD. You can go back and check out which episodes we had. We had 3 of the different TSDs on, so you could see it was Avant, Intelisys, and Telarus. So you have to go watch each one to see which one it was. But no, it was a really cool episode because, I mean, it was a little shocking, right, to hear that kind of said out loud as everybody's going towards AI. But it was actually kind of refreshing because it spoke to why we were doing what we were doing. Everything at that time was all AI focused. So to be able to have someone who is a leader in the space not only say, no, it's not really the do everything solution that people are claiming it to be. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff we're seeing is BS. That was, I think that's pretty profound. So yeah.
Especially a couple years ago, I mean, lately it's come into, some major changes. People are adapting. People are learning how to utilize the different AI platforms to their advantage, and they're not scared of it taking over, but they're taking advantage of it. Hopefully, you should be
Right.
if you're not.
Yeah.
I know which episode you're talking about.
Do
I
you?
believe. I think
Okay.
I do. I think I saw some shorts on that, but I don't want to be wrong, so I won't. I'll ask after we're done here.
I'll neither confirm nor deny until after we're done. Yeah.
When the recording stops, it's off the air. I mean, honestly, man, like I think, how many episodes have you done in your podcast? Because I think it's quite a few, and you have how many? Where are you at now?
So there's actually, you're hinting at it, right? So CX Without the BS is the business podcast, where for that one I'm probably 60-ish episodes in, but for the other podcast I have, I've been doing that since 2018, and that one we're well over like 1,100 episodes. So that's Preston. That's where the muscle memory kind of kicks in, right?
Yeah.
Like after 1,000 episodes, it's kind of like tying your shoes.
For sure. So you have CX Without the BS, and then what's
the other one's the Brian Nichols Show, and I talk everything from business, sales, culture, entrepreneurship, politics, all that and more. And I've had literally guests from all walks of life. I've had Bitcoin entrepreneurs, I've had nonprofit leaders, I've had politicians and folks who are Congress folk. I've had folks who they're activists, or they lead a cause organization, economists, you name it, we've had on the show. It's been really cool, because the whole idea of my main podcast, the Brian Nichols Show, was to leave the audience educated, enlightened, and informed. So that really opened it opened up the audience to really come at many different ways, versus just kind of like pigeonholing into one particular thing. Like I see a lot of folks kind of get doomed and like, oh, we're only going to talk politics, or we're only going to talk like murder mystery. And to be able to have conversations that frankly just I want to have. Like I've had health experts on the show. I talk about my health journey where I lost 180 pounds just through diet and exercise back 15 years ago. And to talk about that in the show, like I don't have to be, the political guy where all I talk about is politics, or all I talk about is customer experience. So to be able to have that flexibility has been nice. And I get a lot of value from it too, because I get to talk about things that frankly I care about. So.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's awesome though. 100, that's a lot, man. Congrats.
Yeah. My heaviest, I was 385. And I ended up just like literally, it was a 2-year period of just saying, hey, we're going to eat right. We're going to work out. At that time I was literally walking every single day just to get cardio in.
Yeah.
So, it took 2 years, but man, once I looked back, I was like, I am so glad I did it, because I was so unhealthy and did not enjoy anything really. It was hard to enjoy stuff when you're that heavy.
Yeah, it's hard to enjoy it first, but once you start to see the progress, that's when you really. I mean, obviously, I've never weighed. I can't even put on weight. It's so challenging for me, but
Preston's the opposite of you and I, man. The guy could eat a whole pizza every day and still be thin.
Yeah, man, I could dream, Preston. I look at the pizza and I would gain 5 pounds. So that's the challenge that I have on my side.
Ongoing battle. I get it.
Yeah.
Justin, you're doing what day are you on right now?
I'm on day 57 of 75 hard. So I started out at 234. I'm down to 212 right now in 57 days. But I walk every day, right? Like one of the mandates is one outdoor, you have 2 workouts and one has to be outdoors. So my 45-minute outdoor is a 45-minute walk every day. Like not a stroll in the park walk, like a nice brisk walk, because I hate running, but 75 hard.
You definitely do a brisk walk if you were out here today, because the high temp is 6. So
6.
Brisk indeed you would be going.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be in snowboard gear, dude.
Where are you located?
Yeah, I'm over here in Indiana.
Indiana. Oh gosh, yeah. You think of snow, you think of Utah, you think of snow, you think of Utah, but we have not got it much snow.
Well, we got hit with that big old snowstorm that just came through, right? Yeah. So we got dumped on here. We traditionally don't get a lot of snow out here. Now, where I grew up in upstate New York, we would get hammered because we would get lake effect snow right off of Lake Ontario up there north of Syracuse. But when you're out in Indiana, I mean, the main things you think is corn and tornadoes, right? Like that's about it. So the fact that we got hit with this pretty gnarly blizzard-ish type of thing this year was lots of folks get caught, right? Because you don't really prepare for it. Like the cities don't get prepared because they usually don't have to. So when all of a sudden they get dumped on, they're like, uh-oh. and they're kind of like scrambling because you still got to plow the roads, but there's only so many trucks.
Yeah, I worked with a company that had a sister operation center in Arkansas, and anytime that snow would hit, they'd get a couple inches and be shut down. I'm like, give me a break. There's like 2 feet here, and I'm freaking riding my motorcycle to work. So calm down.
And I want to hop over to the CX without the BS because I know my answer on this, but trade shows, how do you feel trade shows? How do we feel about those?
It's tough, right? Like trade shows by themselves are not inherently bad, but you got to be targeted. Like for example, right? If you're a technology advisor and you primarily focus in the SMB space, right? Like if you were to go to like an enterprise voice, like communications expo, you're probably not going to be spending your time as effectively as you would if you were to go to more of a regional event, right? So it really just comes down to understanding who your market is. And this kind of goes to my whole go-to-market, my past life for folks who are unaware, right? I worked in the go-to-market business development space for a technology advisor company out in the Philadelphia market. And one of the things that you always focus on with any organization is understanding who your target market is, right? So let's understand who our ICP is, where we win and why, who's our buyer personas, and then you go through and you'll find your niche, right? Really verticalize and find where you win, specifically where you win, and then like double down on that. So with that in mind, right? Like if you're a technology advisor and you're just trying to scattershot, like, oh, this is a big expo, this is a big conference, like give it a shot there. Or on the flip side, you're a vendor, right? And you're trying to curate business, like really figure out where you're going to get the most ROI. Like, are the right people going to be there? If not, maybe it's better to spend your time somewhere else. But just to go and do a trade show, to say you're doing the trade show, I mean, that's what the big multi-million dollar marketing organizations do that are out there, right? With those big annual budgets. The reality is if you're a smaller org, you just don't got that in your back pocket just to go ahead and splurge on some crazy trade show booth, right? Like for folks who go to channel partners, you've seen them all, right? Like the giant snow globes with robots that can make you alcoholic beverages and stuff. Like, come on, that doesn't serve the customer at all. Yeah, it makes you stand out, sure, but like functionally, what does it do? And if you're a smaller, like, can you compete with that? Are you going to stand out versus that?
Yeah. And maybe this is a controversial take, but I want to give some BS because I always talk about this, and I know we'll probably end up doing some trade shows inherently, but I was talking about this over the weekend with Mikkel, and I was like, I could see us doing a trade show where we don't staff the booth at all. We'll just like get a badass display that just says we're too busy to be here because we're servicing our customers, and like make it stand. Because I think that's one of there's the politics, right? And I think, as a channel manager, you understand the value in relationships, right? And I think trade shows, in my opinion, would be more effective if we all just wore badges that said exactly what we were there for. Like, it's like this big speed dating exercise where everybody's playing hard to get. I don't know. So,
I mean, candidly, right? I get more value from the trade shows simply from a networking standpoint. It's seeing the people that you need to see in order to build those relationships. So for me, I'm looking at it more of who can I talk to, right? To build some type of either, a co-relationship where we can go to market together, or, some type of reciprocal relationship where maybe it's like a yin and a yang kind of thing, right? But like if you're just going to go, right, without a plan, without a targeted vision of what good looks like, what success looks like, then you're just kind of guessing. And I think this kind of goes to your episode with me on my show, right, Justin, when you're talking about KPIs, right? Like we see a lot of orgs, they guess their KPIs. They'll just put it on a spreadsheet and they say, yeah, this looks right. I think this is right. But there's no understanding of what right actually looks like. And the same thing is true when you're doing these trade shows. Like if you don't have an idea of what good looks like from an outcome standpoint, then you're never really going to understand, like, was this successful? And if you don't really have anything to measure it against objectively, then you're just going to be constantly chasing ghosts because you have nothing that's tangible to actually build like good or bad around.
I think that's fair, right? So when you look at like startups, we're a new BPO, and everything, all of our success has come directly correlated to relationships. And I think in CX, relationships matter far more than, if you're not in the industry, it's really hard to like articulate. You would think like, I don't know, from the outside looking in, you think it's like this, but relationships do matter. So like from a channel management perspective, would you say trade shows for, let's say BPOs, for example? I know you did a lot with CCAS and UCAS, but for BPO industry, how would you say trade shows are worth it?
It depends. Like if you're just going to a trade show and you're showing up as saying, hey, we're a BPO, like probably not. But if you're saying, hey, we're the best BPO for credit unions, and you go to the Jack Henry conference, that's a different conversation, right? So being able, again, to really not just understand where you're going to get the most success, but then to make sure you're positioning yourself in such a way that you're resonating with that target market. But that also requires you to kind of understand like where you win and then lean into it, right? Like if you do a lot with credit unions and banks and you're finding success there, then emphasize that. Like say, yeah, we are the preferred BPO of leading credit unions and banks because we do X, Y, and Z. And then when you go to the Jack Henry Connect conference, you can sit there and have that as your marketing, and that speaks to it differently than just saying you're going to, I don't know, like a warehousing conference, right? And it's a bunch of guys who work in warehousing, and you just have a generic BPO booth that's just sitting there. That doesn't speak to how you help them, right? You have to speak to like what are the main issues that they are facing. Like I call them the bed bug issues. Like if you had bed bugs, what would be your number one concern? Getting the bed bugs out, right? So if you were to think, well, what is my target customer's main issue? How can I almost enter into that conversation that they're having internally and present, hey, here's the problem. I hear you have this problem. I know you have this problem because I've solved it for other folks. And by the way, we can solve it, right? And here's our customers. We have solved it. And now it's turning into more of a, show me how, versus trying to convince me that I should even have a conversation.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Because for me, I think I've been to too many like CCAS expos where it's just a bunch of us that are all in the same space, and so maybe I need to reframe
all have something in common.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, this is such a, like, I'm not seeing it, like we have drinks, make good friends, obviously learn some tricks of the trade, but the relationships is really where it's been the most value I've gotten. But now you have me thinking like, oh, we're just going to the wrong shows, which actually makes sense as you're saying it. I'm like, and when I say Sonic CX, we've done no show. Oh, we sponsored one event.
The sponsor, yeah. Locally. We approach that ill-prepared, for sure. Ill-prepared and half-ass.
Yeah, they would like, yeah. But hey, I got a solid picture out of that shit.
Yeah, that was a good picture. It looked like you were getting
I'm like literally got a microphone in my hand, and I'm pretty sure I'm in the middle of saying, well, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but like the way it got snapped, thanks Nick Stocking, it looks like I was dropping some profound like knowledge in the picture.
It's really, like you're deep in thought.
Yeah, it looks like I'm up there just talking about something important. But yeah, when we showed up, it definitely wasn't prepared for to speak in any. I wish we wouldn't have been first. I think we went first, and then I saw like a couple other people go, and I'm like, oh, I would have done that differently now. But yeah, I think it's something that kind of talking about, because we go through our growth. I think like we've been very fortunate on that front, but just through relationships. But now it's like, hey, where do you invest, right? And I think you've been in this space, so like it's always good to get your perspective. And honestly, I'm like, oh, I'm just thinking about we're just not going to the right shit in my brain, because I just don't see myself at Channel Partners as a BPO. I just don't. Like if I were there, it would be to see people I know and just reconnect, not to go find maybe find a referral opportunity, but not I don't think our customers live inside those events.
Yeah, it'd be to kiss some hands and shake some babies for sure.
That's one way to approach it.
Put face to people, and that's about it.
Well, so what do you because shift happens, right? Like the whole premise of this podcast and really what we were trying to, it's like, hey, where do you see the industry going?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
Yep.
you know, obviously you touched a little bit on AI in one of your previous episodes and kind of like, hey, this isn't what everybody's labeling it to be. It's not the end all be all solution, at least not yet. But what, from your perspective, what you know, what are the trends you're seeing and what the next 5 years look like?
Yeah. I frankly am looking at the way things are going right now. You're going to see the CCaaS vendors. I think they're going to have to continue to really focus upwards. They're going to become more of these big Fortune 500, Fortune 100 type of vendors, because the reality is your SMB, like the Forgotten 5,000, they can't afford this. They can't afford the insane price tags, and these big CCaaS vendors, they are positioning themselves that they can't afford to lower their price points. So I think what we're going to see is they're going to continue to move upstream, right, towards those enterprise types of solutions. And then downstream, you're going to see more of these UCaaS vendors start to fill the role of almost CX Lite, where you're not getting the full functionality of contact center or CCaaS, but rather you're getting some of those nice to haves that as a SMB mid-market org, you're definitely going to get value from. You're going to get more insights. You're going to get more flexibility and creativity in how you can position your CX, public-facing solutions. So when somebody calls in, what technology are you leveraging behind the scenes now to help put them in touch with the right person, or to give them the tools, as you mentioned, right, with AI to do the self-service, which then goes to, I think, the overarching just industry standard is we're going to see AI more as a nice accessory, as a co-pilot, but I don't see it replacing people. And I think the fundamental reason is there's just something inherently human about us when we have a problem that we want another human there with real empathy to show they understand and they're there to help solve. So giving people the out, right, to say, yes, here's our AI tool or our self-service tool. If you feel comfortable and confident answering your questions via this tool, here you go. But if you want that handhold, that warm and fuzzy, like real human being, here's your path, right? Here's the avenue. Sure. And I think that's going to become more and more attractive.
Available.
Exactly. Yeah.
Always want it. I mean, even when you speak with an IVR, I mean, as capable and helpful that they have recently been, you still are sitting there pushing that zero. Like, give me to somebody, get me to somebody, get me to somebody. It doesn't matter how complex or how strategically handled the AI is going to be.
Well, it's funny. I was just listening to the Savannah Banana guy, the guy who dresses in all the yellow suit and stuff, and it's all about doing things different, right? A very purple cow mentality. But he was making this point, and it's profound, right? And it's related to our space. He was like, if I call your business and I pick it up, and the first thing I hear is, please listen to the following options as our voice menus have changed. Press 1. And then he's like, if your menu is changing that much, really? Like, okay, no, you need to change it, right? Make your greeting unique, personable, like something that makes the customer feel warm and fuzzy. And part of a good CX solution isn't just the technology, right? It's how you present that technology, not only to the customer, but a lot of times like how you're leveraging it internally so you're getting the most value from it. So like I see a lot of folks, they'll have technology and they don't even know that they have access to it, right? Like they'll be like, wait, I have this tool? Really? It's like, yeah, you've had this whole time. You didn't know this? And they were never enabled to leverage it. So it's one thing to have the cool, shiny object, but it's another thing to actually use it in a way that's impactful and shows positive ROI. If you can't do that, right, then you're missing something from building a true, like, positive customer experience. So I would say, one of the things that's going to differentiate, and one of the things we're going to see go forward is more of these UCaaS vendors are going to have to embrace, hey, we're kind of CX light, right? We don't need QA to the extent they would have in some enterprise, 5,000 seat call center, but maybe we do need some more detailed reporting and analytics for our customers to give them a little bit more context into their data, right? Like these are the conversations that UCaaS companies have to start having if they're not already behind the scenes.
Well put. And it's really well put. And I honestly, the Savannah Banana guy, I think is a perfect example. I've seen him speak, and he talks about, like, I think they've done really well, right? Like, you can't even get tickets to those games right now, but he talks about how the experience starts before you even get into the stadium. And I think that's kind of what you touched on, right? He's like, hey, we have this fan experience, like they're involved, the players interact, and so, and it's kind of interesting what you guys are saying, because when a lot of vendors treat customers like the experience is secondary to the product. Like Preston's internet went out over the weekend for 2 days. And I know when I talked to him on the phone, one company was responsive. The way his neighborhood's set up, he's got to work with 2 different providers. And he's like, I can't get these people on the phone. Can't get them on the phone. And like, did you ever get them on the phone, or was that just tickets and emails?
I emailed every person that has emailed me previously, regardless of what it was for. I text every phone number that I could find. And finally, somebody texted me late last night. So, for almost 48 hours, over 48 hours later.
Like, communicate. You don't have to have the answer. Just say, hey, eyeballs are on it. I'll get back to you in a little bit. Like, just something to say it's received.
Yeah, for sure. They put up an X posting that said a line was cut. It was supposed to be up, that night. Then it was pushed to the next morning. Then it was pushed, then, continued to be pushed. And then once it was finally up from Utopia Fiber's end, Beehive Broadband had actually gotten completely reset. So I couldn't get a hold of them on Sundays, of course. Utah.
Everywhere's closed on Sunday in Utah, or a lot of places.
But yeah, I mean, even if they had a self-service option, which apparently there is an app. I downloaded an app, tried another app where you can self-set up your router and connect your internet service provider to it. But still, some of those self-service options just are not. I mean, I went through every option I could, and I'm not computer literate. I'm no genius, that's for sure, when it comes to being, technological savvy, but I could definitely set up a router, no problem, and it was not happening. Wouldn't even scan a QR code. So
yeah, and this is the thing, right? Like, we are techies to an extent, right? We're millennials, Gen Z. We are. I mean, I say techies. We are leveraging technology more than your average person on a day-to-day basis, just by the nature of our jobs, right? Now, think about Bill, the guy who works as a mechanic all day long, right? He comes home, he's exhausted at the end of the day. His wife's like, honey, something's going on with the toilet upstairs. I know you don't want to deal with this. We should just hire a plumber. He's like, yeah, we'll just hire a plumber. He goes, he calls, he's trying to get in touch with somebody at the local plumbing place. And he gets, he gets a company, and he gets the AI voice agent. And he's just like, talk to a person.
Yeah.
Help, talk to a and he's just and he gets and like, think about it. This guy doesn't work with this stuff every single day. We do, and we get frustrated. Yeah. Imagine someone who this is like, oh my God, just give me a real human being, because that's what they at the end of the day really want, right? And that gets so ignored when you see and Justin, this is going back to our conversation, right? When you see this pursuit of KPIs, right? Well, we lowered the average handle time, right? We lowered our average, wait time. Like, great. At the expense of what? Right? Did you improve the customer experience? Did your customers feel like, wow, I was really cared for by that company? They really made me feel valued. Or did you make them feel like they were a number and you just want to get them off the phone so then you could report this back to the board and say, look at our metrics. Like, come on, what are we doing here? So if the goal is, let's create a more positive customer experience, let's start thinking about who our actual customers are and how are they engaging with us on a day-to-day basis? And are we making it easier for them? Are we making it more enjoyable for them? Or are we adding friction? Are we making it more difficult, thus pissing them off? And then once you kind of break it down like that, I think the answer is pretty simple of what's the best option to go with, but maybe it's because I'm a little jaded and I'm in the industry.
100%. But and when I think of like specific areas like healthcare, right? Individuals that are calling in trying to get their healthcare taken advantage of, or insurance, there's no targeted audience there. That's for everybody. Gen Z, boomers, whatever the case may be, they very well could be completely illiterate when it comes to that and just want to speak to a human. And
all I know is I hope that rant gets clipped up into Riverside, because that's going it's going up on LinkedIn. I loved it. It was so well put.
Yeah, it was good.
That was great.
Yeah, I think people are they're afraid that it's going to go full AI, and we're not there yet.
I don't think we ever will be, though.
I don't think we ever should be.
I don't think we'll ever be full human. Like, there is just something missing.
Yeah.
When, like, think about it, right? If you were to go to ChatGPT and you were like, ChatGPT, my dog just died. What would it say? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Justin. Loss and grief is very, very troubling for humans. As an AI model, here's what I'd recommend. Like, it would just feel like, oh my God, this is so, like, just sterile and just dystopian, right? But, like, if you were talking to me and you're like, dude, my dog just died, I would give you a hug, right? Like, AI can't do that. It just, there is something that is missing in that. Like, my daughter, God bless her, she's turning 3 soon. And for our cats, when they purr, she always goes, she'll be like, they have a nice spirit, and she'll rub their chest, right? And my daughter's like she's convinced that when a cat purrs, that's their spirit, right? But, like, she inherently knows that there's something there that, call it what you will, a soul, a spirit, your essence, I don't care, energy, like whatever, but, like, there's something that makes us us. And you can't get that from an AI. You can't. You can try, you can put all the LLMs, you can put all the engineers, you can put all the data into this thing to make it feel like it, but it's never going to be that. That's why I think these things where, like, they, like, take the essence of a person and they try to, like, turn them into an AI, like a chat bot that you can go talk to. Like, they just did this for the Dallas Cowboys, Preston, with Jerry Jones. If you go to the Dallas Cowboys stadium, you can go talk to an AI Jerry Jones and be like, Jerry Jones, tell me about the Cowboys. Well, you know, I did a really good job there for like 4 or 5 years, and then I crushed the team for 30 years, but that's a different story. Like, you can go have that conversation with Jerry Jones, but it's not Jerry Jones. It's never going to be Jerry Jones.
Did they really set up a virtual Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
that's interesting.
So, I mean, Jerry Jones probably set up an AI of Jerry Jones. Probably.
Yeah. Anybody that knows Jerry Jones loves Jerry Jones and then the Cowboys.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Jerry Jones, the Cowboys. But actually kind of unique because his legacy will live on well beyond him with his little virtual AI. You know, fans to be able to come in.
The video link I was going to share was on Fox News, but apparently it's dead. Here, let's see. Here, can I share a screen really quick?
Yeah, you should be just down at the bottom there. There should be a share function.
Here you go. So, like, you can literally ask it questions. Guess it won't load. But, yeah, you can go and ask it questions. Wow, it's a hologram of him.
Chair. It's like a press conference.
Of course, it's him in, like, the 90s, you know, the last time the Cowboys were decent.
Younger.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, but, no, that's...
the 60s.
That's the thing. It's a real thing.
That's crazy. Kind of cool.
Yeah, we'll continue to progress. I mean, there's going to be... The discussion around AI is going to continue. It's going to continue and continue and continue until it's, you know, blue in the face. But at some point, I mean, there are people are becoming, one of the individuals we talked to, Trevor, he's actually teaching his daughter AI, tech from a very young age. And I think a lot of people from that generation below us here are just going to start to learn so much more behind what AI is capable of. And I'm so curious to see what it's going to be like in 10 years.
And you know what, Preston? It's funny you say that. I forget who I was listening to, but he was making this point of how each generation will become a representation of the baseline, like the highest level of technology baseline when they were born, right? So you think of Gen X, computers, right? Like that was the technology. And for a lot of Gen Xers, that's kind of the limitation. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule, but we're talking generally here, right? But like predominantly Gen X, like their technical limitation kind of stops around there. Give a Gen Xer a smartphone. I've seen like, my apps are disappearing. How's that happening? So I see it, trust me. But like that kind of thing, then you go to the millennials, right? Ours is the smartphone. Gen Z, theirs is going to be AI, right? So like AI, and then plus Gen Alpha now with AI. So you're right. Like right now, this is just like, this is status quo for them, right? Like everything else now is going to be that and some, just as it was for us, for the smartphone, it's that and some. And for the Gen Xers, it was the computer and then and some, but it's never going below that. So this is the floor. Where is it going? God only knows. But I'm going to plant my flag, right? Like here we are, January 26th of 2026. I firmly believe that we can literally have billions of dollars tossed at this AI, solution and trying to humanize it. And I don't think we will ever get to the extent where you would feel like, oh yes, this is a person. Like I'm not saying, that there's no way to convince, an old grandma like Beverly, call her and she's in her 80s and like, oh my gosh, it's me, Grandma Preston. How are you? Right? Like, yes, you're going to convince some folks here and there, just like there are folks who get convinced by Nigerian prince scams. Like, no, he's not really looking for help. He's not really in the hospital. Like, stop. But there are people who respond. And it's not a matter of like being like, oh, I would never do that. It's like, no, you wouldn't, but by numbers, somebody would. So all they have to do is by numbers, hit enough people, they're going to get somebody to respond. Same thing is true with AI. So like, you're going to have people who are going to be convinced that what they're seeing is real. But by and large, I still think that there's going to be that underlying thing. On my CX Without the BS show, I called it HI versus AI, human intelligence, right? Like, I think that HI is going to be something that is inherently desired. And by the way, as things continue to progress online with AI, where we start to look, I'm already at the point now, if I go on social media, I am immediately questioning half of the stuff I see if it's real or not, because AI has gotten so good. Google's their video, VO, and then ChatGPT, Sora, they've gotten so good with their video generation tools that I'm just like, I don't know if this is real, right? So I think what we're going to find is actual like in-person types of stuff or like real life phone calls with people. That's going to become like almost a feature, right? Like that's going to be something we value, is that like IRL experience. Yeah,
for sure.
Because you can't get it anywhere else. You can't get that real human connection. Because everything else is like, did you guys see this video? It was this one like Indian guy, and he was playing with this new AI video generation model, and it's real time AI generation. And he's sitting there, so his camera is like in the bottom left-hand corner. And then the camera is supposed to be like looking at him as though he's the character, right? And he's changing the character click after click, and he's going through all the Stranger Things characters. And he can like start with, the lead girl, whatever her name is. And like, it's him sitting there, and he'll turn his head, she'll turn her head. He'll turn his head, she'll turn her head. It's all real time. And then he flips it over to the guy who plays the cop, right? And like, he's doing that in real time. And that's today. Like, fast forward in 5 years, you're not going to know what the heck is real. So again, going back to like just knowing that somebody is real is going to become valued. Knowing that there's a real human will become valued again. So Justin, going back to your original question back like 10 minutes ago before my monologues, like, I think that's where CX is going, right? Like, as much as we see the industry flooding things with AI, I almost feel they're doing it to the detriment of just people wanting to talk to real people.
Yep. And they're doing it in the form of what's labeled as cost savings or efficiency at the detriment to the health of the business. And honestly, I think what we're seeing reshape, right? Like kind of from, and where we try to position like in BPO, and I think you're kind of just seeing a lot of more BPOs shift the conversation to values and outcome and not activities. And it's kind of forcing a trend within the BPO space of like, hey, we're going to, hey, we're not an activity factory. We're like true partners, right? And so, but like, I think the best example I've seen of this, which concerns me quite a bit, actually, like seeing companies pivot hard. I had to go to McDonald's the other day, late night. I had to feed my daughter. Yeah, I didn't have to. I went to McDonald's because it was a long day, and I just did not want to cook anything. And we went inside. I'm like, I don't even want to bring the mess home. And McDonald's is turned into a vending machine with a building wrapped around it.
Yeah.
Like you literally walk in, you hit a kiosk, like boom, boom, boom. And then they call your order and your food's on a shelf. But the price hasn't gone down.
No.
And then like we even Zupas down by my house. I hate Zupas. But people,
dude, I love
family members who enjoy it. You literally hit a kiosk and you order your food. You pay, And then they tell you what stall to go drive to. And somebody walks out and hands you a bag of food. And I'm like, is this the future of customer service? Like, and
dang, that tells you how far Saratoga Springs is ahead of West Jordan.
Yeah.
I still gotta walk my happy butt in there.
Yeah, I think Ryan froze on us for just a sec. But
can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I my screen's frozen. I look like I'm stoned. Actually, it looks like Preston's smoking a joint in my frozen screen.
Wait,
right
you are frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Weird.
You're doing.
You can hear me though.
You're like Darcy Lynn, dude. There you go. You're back. Now you're moving.
So bizarre. There. Cut
but
that out.
I call into question, right? And I think that's like true differentiation. Like, and I think what like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you look at like companies like Level 365, where you're like, hey, let's focus in on the core competency of like the relationships. Let's provide technology that, you know, let's give you what you need to operate efficiently, and let's do it quickly. Like in our experience with when we signed up with Level 365, it was pretty painless. And it's still a campaign that we're going to get launched this month because we're kind of excited about that. But you're starting to see these big companies, and I think it's just going to be this blockbuster Netflix moment where they shift so hard into automation, so hard into what they will deem as efficiency that it will leave a wide gap for the next generation of providers to come in and go, hey, provide exceptional experiences and you will get exceptional results.
And man, you know, talk about like things kind of coming full circle. I was just literally finishing up a couple weeks ago. It was both the biographies of Steve Jobs as well as Elon Musk. And one of the things that just resonates throughout both Elon Musk and Steve Jobs biographies is the idea of just creating phenomenal experiences, right? And this is really Jobsian, right? Like this was something he brought to Apple, he brought to Pixar, right? People forget he was one of the lead voices when Pixar became the lead animation studio in the 90s with Toy Story and A Bug's Life that they were. And you know, then going to back to Apple and then bringing forward the iPhone, the iPod, the iPad. Like it was all going back to we have to create phenomenal experiences. And you're right, Justin. What we've seen over the past 5-10 years has really been this this chase of the numbers, right? What's your ARPU, right? What's your EBITDA? What are you doing for your annual revenue? And it's like gross margin. It's everything that's all numbers, which is important. Don't get me wrong, it's important. But when you're doing that as your priority at the expense of the customer, you're gonna see. It's almost like, you know, a chicken and the egg thing. But I firmly believe if you focus less on the customer experience and more on the number chasing, you're going to have lower numbers as a result because the customer experience is what leads to the positive numbers. I actually was talking to this one guy. We were talking about, you know, this one SaaS company that's out there, and there had been a big report that come out that they were having some issues. And he had made the comment. He's like, well, listen, I had talked to this guy. He's an industry expert in the financial space. And he goes, they could technically cut their entire sales team, cut their entire engineering and development team, maintain one support person, and they could, you know, be revenue positive for 5 years, find a buyer, and they're on their way. And I'm just like, think about being a customer of theirs and how shitty of an experience that's going to be. And like that right there just speaks to how there is just a fundamental disconnect. You're right, Justin. Like there's white space right now for movers and shakers to come in, disrupt the marketplace because things have been done wrong so much over the past, in this industry, 30, 40 years. Like the telco space has been horrifically mismanaged. It's been a race to, you know, these solutions that frankly, like customers really don't want and don't need. It's been a sacrifice of customer experience at the you know, trying to get people overseas in call centers to help, you know, improve their bottom lines. And it is coming full circle. People make jokes about it, right? Like there was a Super Bowl commercial 3 years ago where I forget the couple that they used. It was a famous Hollywood couple, but they called into some org and they got the famous on hold Cisco music and they start dancing to the Cisco on hold music because it's a joke, right? Like we all know and love the Cisco on hold music because We've all been on hold. We all have experienced it. It's a mutual pain point we all experience, right? So like that, when you consider that, it's like, well, that's sad that that's become the status quo. Why is the status quo though? Why is nobody in the UCaaS space or the CCaaS space or just the general CX space? Why has nobody really stepped up to like be a big differentiator? And the reality is because a lot of them don't want to. If you can all keep going in the same motion, kind of all doing the same status quo types of solutions. I mean, yeah, you can compare your ice cream. You got vanilla, vanilla plus, and vanilla plus plus. Great. Which one you want, right? It's all vanilla. What we really need is somebody come in and say, hey, you want some chocolate or some strawberry or something really different, and really give people choice. And I mean, going back to my org, where I work today, Level 365, that's exactly what we're doing right now in the UCaaS space. Like, we're approaching things fundamentally different, having a lot of success and having a lot of fun doing it. So.
Well, I like your content because you're like, I think you do a lot of videos on like, hey, it's kind of just like, hey, let's get back to like and maybe it's my interpretation, right? So if I'm wrong here, correct me. But I hear a lot in your message about, hey, speed, like let's get it up and running. Let's not get you locked into contracts because we're backing up the solution we provide, and we do it at a price point that everybody can win. Is that pretty accurate?
100%. And like, listen, the reality is people will look at you and they will measure expectations based on how you approach the sales process. So for me, I look at things from a former technology advisor perspective of saying, who did I want to do business with from the different vendors I worked with? And it was the vendors who were responsive. They were quick to get back to me. And they were really focused on creating a phenomenal customer experience, right? Like they didn't go in with the slide deck and they're like, okay, here's our annual deck. And they like go through and they spend, 15 minutes talking about, look, this is a data center. We have 14 different redundant internet. Nobody cares, right? Great. You should be. That's status quo. I don't need to go into the details here. Here's my problem. How can you help? And that's fundamentally where a lot of orgs kind of miss the bat, is that they are approaching things through the perspective of like, let me tell you about me versus let me learn about you. And for me, when I approach it from a technology advisor standpoint and I'm looking at a vendor, I'm like, yeah, I want to work with that vendor who's willing to actually like enter into a sales conversation that's helping my customer, not just like putting them through a sales process because, well, that's what my sales process is. It's like, no, you have to meet the customer where they're at. How do they want to buy? What's their buying cycle? Like, what's their budget usually look like? All these little things that do matter, we need to be focusing on. And then like understanding, like asking those next step questions, like the why behind the ask, not to be a pain in the butt, to make sure that we're giving a customer what they're looking for. Like one of the things we pride ourselves on is when we give a customer a quote, we're within 99% accuracy of what they're going to see in that first invoice versus my competitors. They will have taxes, fees, and surcharges added on after that quote so they can give you a sexy quote. They're like, look at how inexpensive it is. And then that first invoice hits and it's 30% higher. And you're, as a customer, you're like, wait, what? And then you're like, well, I'm not going to do this. Heck no, I'm going to go get out of this. Oops, sorry, 3-year contract. Now you're locked in, right? Like, and that happens all the time. And that is, it is, frankly, it is unacceptable that we as an industry have gotten to the point where that is the status quo. And I am excited to see that like we're having success in changing the conversation because listen, selfishly, I think, this is great because we're going to do great business, right? I see areas for us to just dominate. But like, if I'm going to go altruistically, like, big picture, big heart, Brian, like if we can change the way that some of these big vendors approach small and medium-sized customers, okay, right? Good. I don't want my SMB customers to feel that by default they call in for support and they're going to get somebody over in the Philippines. I don't want that to be the status quo like expectation. So like the fact that we're presenting 100% US based support, that's different. That actually speaks to like, hey, we're going to do things differently and here's why. And we're going to show you the value of it. Like we're embracing the change. And hey, if the big guys want to say, hey, we're going to start doing that too. Good. Help your customers. Do better. If not, we'll eat your lunch.
Yeah. And I know one of the things that I always poke fun of, and you could have conversations, but the big guys like to preach frictionless, like frictionless experiences, AI, like especially the ones that are leading the charge in AI. But all you have to do is try to engage as a customer with these organizations, and they don't even eat their own dog food. You literally go through, it's like a 90s model, fill out a form, tell us about yourself. You go into a queue, you get a call from an SDR. They'll do some sort of like, hey, do you qualify for my account executive level conversation? And just like your point, you go right into the sales thing. And they'll kick it off with a 15-minute presentation about redundant servers, XYZ. We're based here. It's look how cool we are. But more importantly, and I think you made this very clear, and I would agree wholeheartedly, they ignore a big subset of the economy, which are these medium to small size businesses that are trying to provide meaningful experiences, but simply just get priced out. They'll have license minimums, right? Where, hey, if you're not hitting this many licenses, you're paying for them anyway. Like we will not lock you into a contract, if you don't have 30 call center agents and so you're just like locked in with exponential growth. And one thing most people don't know, and I hope they see this, never ever sign a contract for the exact headcount you have, or use your headcount as leverage, but sign a minimum at the minimum so you have the flexibility, because whatever you sign for, you're locked into. Right?
Or people sign for next year's expectations and scaling.
Or, and by the way, let's just fundamentally change the conversation, right? Or stop doing business with companies who only present things that way and do business with companies like my company, Level 365, where we lead by default month to month. So you can change your seat count whenever you want because it doesn't matter, because it's a monthly true up. So you have 25 users this month and you have 35 the next month and then 15 the month after that. No worries. Give us a shout. We'll adjust the seat counts, or you just go into your platform and do it yourself. And then that next month's invoice is adjusted accordingly. Like that should just be how it is. We are in a SaaS world. We are in a subscription world. Why are we making it so difficult for people to order our services and then to manage our services? It's backwards.
When the way that the economy is, just economics in general, things are going to change. Things are bound to change, whether it's scale or you're going to have churn. 100% license numbers, they should never be locked in. There's so many. That's frustrating. And I was actually thinking that when you brought up SDR, we're getting a lot of SDR. AI SDR sales agent advertisements, and I'm getting hounded with them. And I'm just thinking to myself, why in the world would I put an AI SDR in campaign trying to attempt to not only send connection requests, but also have conversations and vet the individuals that we're trying to reach out to and get a hold of and do a partnership with, ideally, and skip that human element. And those type of human interactions are never going away. We talk about human actions that are never going to go away. 100%. I just popped into my head because I just saw another message pop up. Same thing.
I've worked with folks, and I'm going to keep, again, agnostic to the technology advisor, but I've worked with folks who wanted to use these AI voice agents. And I'm like, listen, I'll help give you the tools, but I'm like, this isn't as effective as just having a person do this, right? Like get a hungry college guy who he just graduated. He was in football, or he understands team sports and meritocracy. They're hungry. They have that itch where they understand, like, I will get what I put in, and just like give them the tools, right? And this is the part, give them tools, but don't try to automate the person. Like it's going to be people who embrace human beings leveraging AI to be more successful versus those who leverage AI to replace human beings. I think that's a pretty fair assertion to make, because I've gotten the AI phone calls before, and it's so obvious. It's so like, I'm not going to talk to you. You're not real. And by the way, now with I have a new Google Pixel I got when I got my new phone. My phone will automatically screen these guys. So like it will like start to prompt if it's an AI thing, and it will reject the call. I can watch it happen. It's like actually really cool. Like I've seen calls come in and my phone won't ring. My phone will like put a little notification saying screening call, and then also see it go away. And I'm like, oh, and you can go in and listen to what it was. And I'm not kidding. I've heard a few of these where it was the AI sales agents calling in like, "Hi, is this Brian?" And like it pauses, and then like you can hear the AI be like, "Hi, this is Brian's personal AI assistant. How can I help you?" And like then it was just like, and then it just cuts off. I'm
My
like,
favorite is the ones with the keyboard background noise. Like they're actually, let me look that up. Yeah, you're like, oh,
yeah.
tricky.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you really got me there.
Hard. Yeah,
it's supposed to be like like a 3-number response, and you hear them click more than 3 times. You're like, yeah, you're really working hard.
Yeah. Wait, let me get your name. Yeah, it could be Sam, and you'll hear like 18.
Exactly.
Clicks. You're like, okay.
And by the way, like I'll cross that barrier, but like it's also when you have somebody over in the Philippines, right? I'm sorry, guys. Don't tell me that Raji Nigavov's name is Ben. It's not. Yeah. Right? Like don't that's insulting to me as a customer, and frankly it's kind of rude to him as a human being. Like just don't pretend because that I'm calling from the Midwest that I want to talk to Ben, right? Like don't do that. Like just bring it home. Do it right. Like, do you guys remember that show on HGTV? It was Mike Holmes. Holmes Does It Right, I think was the show.
I've probably seen it. I've seen.
If you saw it, you'd probably know. But like his whole shtick was like going into these homes that were done quickly or done poorly, and just saying this is how you do it right? Like this is where they cut corners. This is why this was bad. This is why this was dangerous, right? And this is how you do it right the first time. And that's our that's going back to level 365. Like that's our approach. That's our philosophy. Is like, don't just do it quick just to check a box. Let's do it right. Like let's make sure that this is the right solution for you. And by the way, just in case, we're giving you that almost insurance policy of the out. Like if this doesn't work for you for whatever reason, right? Here's your path out. Here's your escape hatch. Not, hey, we'll talk to you in 3 years and then we'll see what happens. And you made one change in between then, and your contract got auto renewed for another 3 years. Oops! Like, come on.
And that's business to consumer too. Some of those situations, and an SDR agent trying to implement an AI voice SDR agent speaking to business owners. That's an even higher level of disrespect. I'm sorry. It just 100%. I can never see that being successful. Shoot out a bunch of emails, a bunch of connections, sure, but that's still that bugs me.
Yeah, well, I mean it's and it's going to happen at such scale that it's going to get diluted. It's like email now.
Exactly.
I get so much junk email. I just especially
it's going to get regulated.
Email, like
almost inevitably, it's going to be regulated. There's no way that with this. Actually, I think I talked about this with Fred Stacy from Cloud Tech Gurus back in the show, where one of the proposals, I think, going into this year's Congress was a bill where you'd have to first and foremost acknowledge any AI agent, whether it's inbound or outbound, that it's an AI agent. And then second would be you have to give an escape hatch for any AI self-service tool to a human being. Which I don't. I mean, philosophically, I am much more of a small L libertarian at heart. So, like for me, I don't really like the idea of government having to come in and regulate. I think you'd see behaviorally that kind of change by companies doing things the right way, like giving this escape hatches, and then companies just kind of like saying, yeah, this is the way to do this. And then subsequently, I think you're going to find there's going to be. I mean, we're already seeing it, right? There's technologies that are coming out there that are anti-AIing things, like whether it's the AI, what's the thing they use for essays, right? Where it'll scan and it'll give you the percent chance it's AI, or like the watermarks and images that are hidden that like you can only see if you like reverse it with the AI prompting and stuff. So like there are the market. There's the old Jeff Goldblum, nature finds a way, right? There's an iteration of that for more libertarian politics where it's like the market finds a way, and I feel that that's where we're going to see. I would hope, right, some of the solutions come from is more of a market response to things being done wrong. But in the meantime, if we're going to see a market solution, at the very least, I don't think that's too much in the negative, right? Like making an AI tell you it's an AI just from the start, because there's going to be people that
we don't want to be tricked,
right?
Nobody wants to feel like they're being tricked, right?
What a way to start a relationship by tricking you.
Yeah. that language gap, right? And from offshoring when they have language assist, so they can actually switch to an English speaking accent. It's, I can't
Yes.
imagine going to maintain very
Man, that
successfully, but I
technology is
mean, so
crazy
far it
good
is
too.
because it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen some of the like in relationships where they use accent, like totally neutralizes an accent. I think that's cool. I think there's like some benefit to, like, I could talk to somebody that's speaking a different language and it's like real-time translations. I think there's some cool stuff coming there, but yeah, it's an interesting time that we're in, and I think I'm excited for it because I think a lot of people are going to make some fatal mistakes leveraging
Yep.
AI too
Already
much.
are.
Yep. Yep. And it just opens up a brand new like opportunity to come in and make some waves and, frankly, disrupt. And I think you said it well earlier on, was like, hey, even if, we're not the behemoth, at less we want to be part of like driving the conversation and changing the behaviors of the industry as a whole. It's kind of my take on what you said, maybe reframed a little bit, but that's kind of what we shoot for too, right? Like, hey, we may not be the biggest BPO in the world, but if we can have some small piece in driving the conversation and changing the behaviors so that companies frame this differently, like, how cool is that? That's like really cool. Although I think
Preach.
we're going to be pretty big, so our aspirations are high, but it's with AI, and we even have Bella, like we
Yeah.
have a voice AI
We do
agent.
have voice.
We have 0 customers on it. We haven't gone market heavy on this. We know that there will be a time and a place for, a Bella type to come in and replace, like, I've seen a lot about replacing IVRs. IVRs need to go, right? You should be able to come in, talk to a voice agent and say exactly what you need and go exactly where you want to go and not have to hit, like, I hate, like, press 1 for this, press 2 for that.
The
Sure,
call
why are you
tree.
calling?
Yep.
Boom, let's get you over there. So I know we're kind of at the hour. First of all, it's kind of fun to flip because now you're in our environment, but you're still like, dude, the way you project and shit. We know we need to tighten our podcast game up
Oh, yeah,
because
for
the way your
sure.
mind works and like the way that your ideas flow, it's fun to watch. It's really fun to
Thanks.
watch.
No,
Yeah.
it's been fun though. Like,
You
I
you
love
have the
this.
rhythm. You've been doing it for a while, 100%.
Yeah, he's
I
good.
pause and
He's
I'm
good.
like, does this sound good? No.
What am I
Do I
doing
look
with my
good?
hands?
No. Well, yeah.
It takes a minute, but it's like as we get ready to close this out, is there anything that like you kind of that we didn't touch on? Any thoughts that you want to?
I mean, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. It's been a lot of fun, and it is nice to have the roles flipped because usually I'm the one asking questions, right? And I'll give thoughts and commentary, but it's nice to be able to kind of just riff and go off into little tangents every now and then because I do got lots of opinions in this space, and after doing this for a decade at this point, you see a lot of stuff, and you see the way it's done really well, you see the way it's done really poorly. And you can see both the outcomes of when it's done well and how that can lead to positives on both the seller side, the provider side, and the customer side, but also when the shit does hit the fan, how does that impact the customer, the advisor, the provider? And it's important, I think, for anybody in the technology space to really think always about what are we here for? It's the office space. What would you say you do here, right? Our job is to connect our customers as a technology advisor with the right technology providers for their unique specific use cases and situations, right? That means I understand you might have a preferred vendor. You might have had a great experience with Ring Central or Zoom or GoTo. That's great. Awesome. However, they're not a one-size-fits-all. And by the way, my company, we're not a one-size-fits-all either. We'll 100% tell you when we're not a good fit. And by the way, I've had to tell technology advisors that, hey, thanks for the opportunity. Not going to be a good fit for us. Pass. And that's okay, right? It's okay to say no. I know there's an instinctual, desire to chase revenue, but like you got to make sure it's the right revenue. And by the way, when you do chase that revenue and you say, yeah, we're going to take on this opportunity, you better make sure that when you sell it, you're going to sell it great and you're going to support it great. Don't sell something that you're not able to support, right? Make sure that you're not always chasing the shiny objects. Stop this AIing everything, right? If I see another company with .ai at the end of the name, I'm going to lose it. Like, just chill with the AI stuffs. I get it. AI is important. It's the buzzword of the day. Wink, wink. But like, it's the buzzword of the day, but it's time to focus more on what's your AI doing for folks, right? Like to your point, is AI just there in your CX stack just to say we have it? Or is it replacing your IVR, right? Is it helping make a customer's experience better? Is it helping them get in touch with the right person faster? Is it getting them the information they need quicker? Is it helping them go through a self-service tool faster? All these little things that matter from a customer experience standpoint, make sure that you're not just putting the technology in place to say, yeah, we have that thing, right? We have that new, like, I've seen this, like, credit unions will be like, we have the brand new ABC Credit Union AI. And like, they advertise it. And then you look at it and you're like, wow, this is garbage, right? It does nothing. It's literally them taking a ChatGPT API and plugging it into a chatbot. And then you can just go and say, like, tell me about this credit union. They have a little tiny knowledge base, and good luck, right? That's what it is. So if you're not going to do it right, back to the Mike Holmes approach, don't do it at all. Or at least work with a company who will do it right. So I think I'll leave it with this. There's lots of BS out in the industry. Don't be afraid to call it out, especially if you're an advisor, because you're going to see it from vendors. They are going to PowerPoint you to death. They are going to market you to death because they have millions and millions and millions of dollars in marketing funds. And I would say start to ask some of those other questions, right? Like, okay, well, if I have a small customer, how will you support it, right? Hey, when I get a quote from you, how much more is the actual quote going to be? Hey, if a customer does want to make a change in the middle of a contract, are you going to auto renew them for another 3 years? All these little questions, start asking these questions now to your vendors before you're asking it after you're bringing them an opportunity. Or even worse, you've signed a deal with them and now you're trying to answer for a question you wish you had asked back, months and months earlier. So with that being said, if you got some value from anything I said today, go ahead. I guess give me a follow on LinkedIn. I'm over on LinkedIn causing all types of mayhem and ruckus with Justin and Preston here. Other than that, CX without the BS. I usually share clips on LinkedIn, but also you can find it over on YouTube and also wherever you get all your podcasts like Spotify, YouTube Music, all that, Apple Podcasts. And then likewise for my main show, if you want to kind of get outside the world of technology and start to look in the world of culture, sales, health, wellness, all that fun stuff, the Brian Nichols Show, again, wherever it is you consume your podcast content, your video content, all that fun stuff. Yeah, gents, it's been a pleasure. I've had a lot of fun today.
It's been a pleasure, man. I mean, you pretty much took my outro. So for there, I'll just say, Brian, thanks for joining. And anybody else willing to talk about the ship that happens behind the scenes, feel free to reach out, join us, and have a great day.
Ship happens, indeed.
All right, guys.